Thank you once again for joining us this afternoon. The minority in Parliament has raised fresh concerns over governance, judicial independence and economic accountability, cautioning President John Mahama against any attempt to pursue a third term in office and warning the majority against what it describes as the continued rushing of legislation under certificate of urgency. We'll cross over to James Aveji for updates on that. But shortly first, Chief Justice Paul Bafuboni today begins a series of institutional visits to key state bodies, including the Ghana Police Service and Parliament, as part of efforts to strengthen collaboration and coordination across Ghana's justice and governance architecture. The visit forms part of the Chief Justice's engagement with major stakeholders in the justice delivery chain, aimed at deepening inter-institutional cooperation, enhancing mutual understanding of rules, and reinforcing partnerships critical to the effective administration of justice. Now, my colleague Collins Frimpong is part of the team on the tour and is joining us live. Collins, so far, which institutions has the Chief Justice visited?
Chief Justice Paul Bafuboni this morning visited the IGP at the National Police Headquarters in Accra here. And you know, the first thing that normally the Ghana Police Service will do is their regular honor, where the Chief Justice is being welcomed by the police officials there at the police headquarters here in Accra. Afterwards, he and the IGP were locked up in a meeting, which we don't know what they discussed yet, but what I have been told is that after that particular meeting, the Ghana Police Services were going to issue a statement to let the public know what went on.
Okay, I mean, we're told that he's visiting Parliament too?
Yes. So a few minutes ago, he arrived in Parliament. We know that earlier you mentioned that the minority are saying that they are going to boycott that particular meeting. I don't know if that particular meeting involves both leadership of the House, but when I was in the Speaker's auditorium where the meeting is going to happen, at that particular moment, I saw the majority whip, who is also a member of Parliament, and I also saw the first Deputy Speaker of Parliament also in the Bernard Ahiafo. And later on, that of the second Deputy Speaker of Parliament also came around. Then he went back and said that he's waiting for Chief Justice Paul Bafuboni to arrive, then he will come in. Then they also informed the media that we are not going to be present in that particular meeting. So in that particular meeting as well, we don't know what they are discussing, but I know for sure that the leadership of the majority are in the House, but I can't confirm that of the minority also there.
Well, thank you so much, Collins. We shall go to James a little later. Right now, though, let me take you back to Parliament, where the minority leader is still answering questions.
I think you've had your fight already. No. Oh, okay.
Please, let the question be straightforward. I'm advising. Else I'll take your money. I don't know why the media is close to me. Leader, the last time there was a voting on the floor, when the first Deputy Speaker quoted or mentioned the case between Justice Abdullahi versus the Republic, where the Supreme Court gives judgment that presiding Deputy Speakers could vote. And that day, I told leader, your numbers were really minute. So when I was secret, I thought there was some sort of conflict between yourself and your police. That probably because NDC were able to marshal about 155 of their members. And we, sorry, I don't say we were. And you were, sorry, and the minority were only 25 in the House, but NDC were 155. So I was thinking that at that moment, Mr. Minority Leader, I was thinking that at that moment, I thought you should allow the voting when the Speaker put in the vote, the question. But you insisted that, you insisted that there should be a voting. And I saw some sort of nakedness on the part of minority. Because NDC were able to. Go ahead and ask the question. The question was, how united was the NPP front when it came to that particular issue? Thinking that since you don't have since the NPP didn't have the numbers, so you should allow, the voting, and you call for a voting. Please, head count, and the head count exposed the minority. That at that moment, the chief will put in the shell the numbers.
Thank you. Next.
I told you that I was still very concerned about. Any other question, please? Please make sure you ask your question. Let's have some breakfast and straight to the point, please.
Yeah, my name is Kwesi Kusin, editor of Point Africa. Leader, I think last year, when the government was...
We'll bring you more on that particular ongoing press briefing a bit later, and even go to James to tell us how the minority indicated they'll boycott Parliament, especially with the Chief Justice visiting. But away from that, government says investigations into corruption cases are ongoing, with 280 cases currently under review and at least 20 expected to have their docket completed soon. Speaking to me earlier, Minister for Government Communications Felix Kwashiorkor stressed that the office of the Attorney General cannot act extrajudicially or conduct so-called speedy trials, noting that the Attorney General does not convict, but only presents cases for the court to determine.
There are 280 cases, different cases of corruption that are being looked into. And you recall that the President set up the Oral Preparatory Committee, and their task was just to put together information relating to these alleged cases. They presented a report with the 280 cases, and I can tell you that the Attorney General has commissioned investigations into each of them. You see, the report itself could not have formed the basis for any legal action against anybody, because they were just reports. It's like you coming to tell me that your cameraman has done ABCD. I cannot simply say that because you have said it, then I hold him and throw him into jail. I mean, it will not make sense.
How then did you put a value on it, on how much we could recover?
No, so for instance,
that's an estimate.
It's an estimate. So that if this phone costs 200 cedis and it was stolen, that is the amount involved. If you were held accountable for stealing it, it means that you had engaged in corruption to the tune of 200 Ghana. So you put all the figures involved together. There are some that you can recover. Others may yet be difficult because of the nature of the offense. But the point I'm making is that all the 280 cases are receiving attention. I can tell you that more than 100 people have been hauled in for questioning. Some have been arrested. Some were detained for some time. Some have been granted bail. And others too are in court. There are over 20 cases whose dockets are almost done and will be going to court. The Attorney General has already proceeded to court on a number of those cases. So everything is being done to fully implement Operation Cover All It. I understand that because of the pervasive nature of the corruption in the recent past, people want to see results and they want it done in a rapid fashion. Government appreciates that fully, except that oral itself has to be done in accordance with Ghanaian law. We cannot act extrajudicially. So anybody accused of wrongdoing must be taken through a process, and the process will end up in a court.
Is the Agenda 111 Hospital Project, introduced under the Eswala Akufo-Addo administration, describing it as rushed and driven more by politically expediency than careful planning.
They initiated a program that was going to cost $2 billion, and yet did not have $2 billion to finance it. So it was always going to be an albatross around the neck of government.
This suggests that every project that is started by a certain government will usually have funds available.
So there are different types of projects. For example, if we were doing a 3-unit classroom block, that one you can use the trickles that often comes by way of GOG funding to complete it. But when you design a $2 billion project, you need to have dedicated funding. Otherwise, it's going nowhere. So it depends on the kind of project you are doing. That is why when we were doing those mega projects, we had money. Look at the Terminal 3. Money had been secured for it. The KJT market, we had over $250 million from Deutsche Bank also to complete it. Look at the Pakadam project. We had close to $400 million from the Indian Exim Bank to undertake it. UGMC at $270 million, Radio Hospital at $250 million to complete. So all these projects were funded. So when you inherit it, all you need to do is to draw down to carry out any activity that is left to operationalize it. But in the case of Agenda 111, they didn't leave anything. So it was more like slogans that they were singing. They tried to scratch around for money here, money there through within government's own budgets in order to be able to do the project. But it was obvious that the money was not forthcoming. That is how come they were not able to operationalize. Because how can you plan to build 111 hospitals and not open even one?
Well, the minority in Parliament has said it will boycott Parliament's meeting with the Chief Justice Paul Bafo-Boni. The CJ is scheduled to meet the Speaker Alban Bagwin and leadership of Parliament as part of his ongoing visits to various state agencies. But the minority at an ongoing press conference held earlier on stewardship of holding governments accountable have questioned the motive behind the CJ's tour. Now, my colleague James Aveji has more on this. James, has the meeting, we're told, between the Speaker and the CJ already started?
Well, the indication we get, because these are two separate issues by Parliament, we get the indication that the CJ has arrived in Parliament a few minutes ago to have that meeting with Speaker. The original announcement was that the meeting is between the CJ and the Speaker, but what has been custom is that at this meeting, both leadership of the House are asked for the meeting with any agency head who stay skeptical on the Speaker. It is also unclear what exactly the subject of the matter is, but what we pick up is that this is a general institutional tour being currently undertaken by the Chief Justice. After his arrival, we know that it has been declared that the meeting would rather be a closed-door meeting without the involvement of the press. Now, the minority are holding a separate press conference on their stewardship in holding government accountable in the last 1 year, where the minority leader, Alexander Afenyo-Markin, questioning the CJ's tour that he's embarking on, asserting that this is a thank you tour he is doing, according to him, to thank the government and the president for appointing him as the CJ. It also brings up what unfolded at the vetting of the Chief Justice in Parliament a few months ago. Still hold a position that they, the minority, still hold strong acceptance to his appointment as a CJ. They believe that in his words, he is not a quote-unquote a tolerant leader of the judiciary, and so they will not attend that meeting. If the CJ has anything to discuss with them, he should call a meeting separately with the minority, and they will tell him their peace of mind about his appointment and his dealings at the judiciary.
Well, James, on the issues of holding governments accountable, the minority also raised fresh concerns about the $214 million gold for reserve loss. The minority is making fresh calls. What are their demands?
Well, you recall that they have, from the onset, maintained that this is a loss, but the Gold Board as well as the Bank of Ghana have been given separate descriptions to this. But they believe that a recent ongoing board meeting between the two entities, the BOG and the Gold Board, to fashion a way to prevent some of these figures from occurring further, vindicate their position that this is actually a loss. They said they have filed a motion in Parliament which has been accepted, and so when Parliament resumes, they will probe this issue further. They are demanding that both Parliament and other stakeholders, including anti-corruption agencies, must take interest in this matter to prevent some of these things happening in the near future.
Well, James, finally, so they also have sent quite a strong warning to the majority ahead of Parliament's return.
Exactly, MFR. They said they are declaring no rushing of bills through the Chamber of Parliament on the certificate of urgency. They maintain that a number of bills have been pulled through Parliament in the first year under the John Mahama government, which they believe shouldn't have been the case. Some of these bills have been returned to Parliament for amendment. For instance, they cite the example of the lithium bill, which is back to Parliament now, and all of that. They said this year they would maintain their stance. No bill will be rushed through the floor, and if government and the majority attempt, they will explore various means to stop them from doing so, literally saying that the majority and government must prepare for a tougher minority scrutiny in the coming year when Parliament resumes as well.
Right, James, thank you so much. We definitely will bring more on this press briefing later to our audience. But away from that, the first batch of 121 beneficiaries under the President Mahama-led administration Ghana Labour Export Program has departed Ghana for Antigua and in the Caribbean to provide services in midwifery, mental health and general health care. The Chief of Staff, Julius Debra, was present to bid them farewell. And in his speech, Health Minister Kwabena Kanda said the initiative is part of government's efforts to clear the backlog of 80,000 health workers the Mahama administration inherited.
Ghana Labour Exchange Program is one of the interventions by His Excellency John Dramani Mahama, President of the Republic of Ghana, to create more jobs for the good people of this country. And today is the turn of the health workers. As you all know, we inherited a backlog of more than 80,000 health professionals who have completed the various degrees and yet are at home and do not have jobs. So as part of government's intervention to create jobs for especially the health professionals, we're exploring avenues where countries have requested our health professionals to work with them. Today is about Antigua. We are working on Jamaica, Barbados, and Trinidad. And so we'll be doing that in batches. And so today we are here to say goodbye to you, but we'll be following your progress with keen interest. And as you are going, you must be minded of the fact that you are carrying the flag of Ghana. And therefore, we wish that you go and work with diligence and professionalism. Those of you who are at home watching us, I'm very hopeful that it will get to your turn. Usually, the debate has been the fact that we do not have health workers in our various health facilities, but we are exporting health workers. That is not it. The availability of health professionals in this country is not a problem. As I have already indicated, we have excess. We have inherited about 80,000 health professionals. But as you all know, we have a country to govern, and at every point in time, our budget can absorb a certain proportion of them. And so as government is looking at absorbing some internally in-country in our various health facilities, we are also exploring other avenues outside the country. I thank you for the opportunity.
The Minister of State in charge of special initiatives, Emmanuel Kwejojikum, says more countries are requesting for labor from Ghana.
We are privileged to have the Chief of Staff with us this morning, and I have my colleague, Honorable Kwabena Kanda, the Minister for Health, here with us. As part of our promise to the people of Ghana, we said we are going to explore whatever we can to get the people of Ghana jobs all over the world. And today we are here today to showcase to the people of Ghana that this is one of the promises of His Excellency John Dramani Mahama, and it's not going to stop. There are so many opportunities in the world, and we'll make sure we explore and get to the bottom of it. This is going to help everybody. It doesn't matter whether you are a health worker, you're a carpenter, you're a mason, wherever you are, we have an opportunity for you. Thank you very much, and God bless you all.
I'll now take you to the Ashanti region, where artisans at a mechanic garage at Sofoline in the Kwadaso municipality are yet to come to terms with the impact of a devastating fire that swept through a cluster of shops on Sunday night, causing extensive damage to property and livelihoods. 2 artisans are allegedly to have collapsed at the scene as the affected artisans count their loss. Preliminary assessment by the National Disaster Management Organization revealed 35 vehicles and 24 shops have been ravaged. The cause of the fire officially remains unknown, but some artisans are attributing it to someone who was burning refuse in the area. My colleague Emmanuel Bride-Kweku reports plumes of smoke continue to emanate from pockets of fire over 12 hours after the fire broke out.
All right, so we are coming to you live from the fire scene. This is where the fire happened yesterday. We understand that somewhere around 7 p.m. on Sunday evening, we saw a fire sweep through this particular mechanic shop. It's a cluster of mechanic shops around the Sofoline. So just a few meters away from here, we are having the Sofoline interchange or Sofoline stretch getting into Kwadaso here. And so as you can see on your screens now, we are having a day after, or some 12 hours after the incident, what happened. And these are the remnants of whatever happened yesterday. So we have a lot of cars that have been ravaged by this fire situation that occurred yesterday. A lot of cars, we are told that some numbering over 50 cars here, but we'll get the actual figures from the NADMO officers that are here to assess the situation. But here on your screens now, you can see a number of the artisans or mechanics trying to salvage the little that they can and put back their lives together. They are trying as much as possible, whatever damage they may have seen here, they are trying to put everything under control and then gather whatever debris or remnants they are having. In fact, I have the NADMO officer for the Kwadaso area. I'm talking about, he is the acting operations at the NADMO office here at Kwadaso, and we'll quickly interact with him to really find out from him what is the assessment so far of the situation, what numbers are they getting, and what measures are being put to control to ensure that these victims of the fire situation have whatever they means to come back and put their lives together. Sir, thank you for joining us on Joy News. We want to find out from you. I've seen that your men are on ground monitoring the situation and assessing whatever happened yesterday. I want to find out what has been the outcome of whatever preliminary investigations you've conducted so far.
Okay, so far the fire started around 7:30, 7:35 evening. We got here yesterday night, and then today, this morning, we are here. And damages that will cause 35 cars and then 24 containers. The containers are, how do you call it? Things that they have been using for the cars here.
Okay, so combustibles are included?
Yes, yes.
I have with me the assembly member for the area, and in fact there have been some concerns, especially here at Kwadaso. We know that you were supposed to have some fire station. I want to find out from you what has been the case of that.
Okay, actually we don't have the fire tender there. We have the station, all right, but there is no fire tender to serve the community. And then I spoke to the regional commander last week, and he says the car is faulty and then they are maintaining it. So in no time, you'll see it at the station. That's what he told me last week.
Inti ejanu to my bit my manade abende ana amanfo yo twa bushins so where e was inti ejanu to mu no asa sa tam so obi abeso oyi ne kan inti amanfo do mo kai dey ejisi kwan so na first service ne ba omo dey ma bloko church na itimi bie na omutim bedudum jani bi na say de besi esi awie
e wo fie enyumre na boy ba akofrem ka jem se so fela ha ejada ha the ampa na hanging as ba de ba ko ntima mo en se fire service for no mka ba ko no di kan ba na insuini to mo sa akofa afoforo aha no mo for no omo mo so yes for no munika to mo sa afa aka afire kono no ane twade ane ba yen te na betimi boa ya me yetimi
edumo no na de ba ko a eye me ye ha me pa ne say e last boy obi de car blend so onye ho adwuma car ne ba ye no wo mantimi anya na dana esi wo be say 2 weeks ebesi ne car of fallen number lance ni nyina ahye ama asotwe na ba da akura ne so
asama to ye de nya sam keto ensem bebre because enura asama to ye ni anapo asama atoye no chese odwe ho awonti ahye nanso no de nyame pe no ye.
Sure, and so that's also another victim. He has been explaining to us that the number of people that are actually within this vicinity. In fact, we are told that the regional minister will be here and to assess the situation for himself. In fact, we are having a number of these men counting their losses here at the fire scene happening currently here at Kwada. So, in fact, you still...
And back here in Accra, an ongoing demolition exercise at the Bush Road in the Dade-Kotopon municipality has left several residents homeless and displaced a number of businesses. The exercise, being carried out by the National Disaster Management Organization in collaboration with the Greater Accra Regional Coordinating Council, is aimed at protecting the Pishi Lagoon as part of measures to reduce flooding in the area. According to NADMO, the demolition followed an assessment of flood-prone zones across Accra with the goal of preventing future disasters during the rainy season. Some of the affected residents also spoke to JoyNews, saying they were not given prior notice before the demolition began.
So I am currently on the Bush Road, the Dade-Kotopon municipality, where there is an ongoing demolition exercise by NADMO in collaboration with the Greater Accra Regional Coordinating Council. We understand that NADMO has been doing an assessment of flood-prone areas in Accra, and today they are here to demolish the structures here. Some people have been displaced, and they say that they were not given any notice about this particular demolition exercise. I'm here with the regional minister, Lindo Klu, who will be telling us more about this exercise. Tell us more about this demolition exercise. Why today?
Yes, thank you so much. This exercise started last year. Since last year, you can attest to the fact that we started from Sakumono Ramsar site. And we were supposed to end at Kweshi Lagoon here, but we couldn't because of some of the challenges we had with our machines. And so as part of the assessment we did, I mean, making sure that we protect our waterways, today we are here at Kweshi, and the lagoon is just close. In fact, initially, this is where the lagoon ends, but they managed to fill the place, and today here we are. And so we are trying to protect the waterways and make sure that when it rains, I mean, the rain will get its natural flow, so that we wouldn't have any flooding in the region. And this year is an action year, trust me. But this exercise was even supposed to start 1st January. But because they said we should give them enough time, we told ourselves, myself and Nadmo, that no, let's give them, we are human, let's give them some period of time so that they can remove their valuable things and give us access to start the demolition. And today we are here with the same story. So they've been told, they've been given enough time. The assembly has informed them. When you ask the MCE, he will tell you. He has informed them. I mean, they've had series of engagements. So they are very much aware.
And we also have some people who were actually selling cattle here. They tell me that since the exercise started this morning, some of them have died. They were not able to move all the cattle before the exercise began. So some died. They were able to save some. But this is the situation on the Bush Road. There are some affected people here as well. They want to talk to us. Now they've been saying that the minister or the NADMO did not give them prior notice, but we heard from the minister that this was supposed to have started early this month, but unfortunately that didn't happen. They actually gave them enough time to move, but they didn't, and so that's why they're here today to demolish their structure. Some of them are here with me. I'm going to speak to them. Welcome to JoyNews.
Yeah, you're welcome.
So the minister tells me that she told you the NADMO came here to tell you to engage you to move because they were going to demolish the structure here. You didn't do so. Were you told?
We were told that was 3 days today. But
3 years?
3 days. 3 days today.
but they don't even assure us that they will come today. And here, secondly, here is not Labadi Bush Road. Here is Tashi Bush Road. And then they said they are going to Labadi. So we don't know the reason why they are come and started the demolition over here.
What about you? What do you do here?
Hey, I have a shop here, and I just sell some provision things like toffees and banana and things inside. And yes, now they have never informed us. But as this morning we came, they are demolishing our things just like that, and they are telling us they are informers, and which is not true. It is not true. They are just lying. And not more in the La Trust. Their interest of what is going on. Their interest is they want to sell the land, and we have come and fight them before.
Residents of Santor in the Greater Accra region say they have not had tap water. The situation has left many relying on water from private tankers, raising concerns about financial strain and possible health risk linked to water from unknown sources. My colleague Adobiasare visited the area and reports.
1, 2, 3, and many more water tanks stand on scaffolds and in the compounds of residents at Santor. These tanks have become the community's lifeline, storing water bought from tankers in the absence of regular supply. For months running into years, residents say water has not flowed through their taps, forcing families to depend entirely on tanker services.
The water situation here has become unbearable. Actually, I would say it's no longer an inconvenience, but a public health issue.
Even no drop of the tank, and the tank itself is dry now, nothing inside.
No water has flowed into my taps. I have all my bills here, 0.0000000. It's very, very bad. From 2024, I had water for 5 months, continuous. Then the last 7 months, no water. Then when there was change of government, January, the water flowed for just like a week. Then it went off.
There's a widely held belief that residents in this area can afford to buy water, but residents say that assumption is misplaced, explaining that the cost of purchasing water regularly is putting a strain on their finances.
And there's no water. Everybody feels very discomfort. The solution is now to buy water. And every month or every week, I have to buy 2 types of, almost about 500 Ghana cedi per for the whole 2 drums to serve it to finish. So the family live right now, the tank is empty.
Every now and then, we are being forced to find money to buy water. And every week, you spend close to 500 cedis, which equates to about 2,000 cedis a month, to try to find water when you have to spend less than that.
Can you buy 500 cedis water a weekend? It will not affect your finances. 2,000 cedis a month.
The for special. First day I around Botry School Junction and I didn't tell you. But sister, I'm gonna water much pipes in the most of my money and Tombi. Sister, I took our free hand.
We saw the water at 250 cedis per 2,500 liter tank. We used to get our water from Botry and Oyarefa, but Ghana Water stopped us. So we need to drive about 1 hour 30 minutes just to get water for our consumers.
Some residents say the water bills from the Ghana Water Company have consistently read zero for several months, a sign that no water is reaching their homes.
Last bill I got was 37 Ghana cedi, and I'm wondering on what grounds that amount came up. What have not flown through the tap and through the meter for 2 months. So on what grounds was that 32 or 37 bill came up? Is it the air now we pay a bill for, or is the water?
Residents say they've made several attempts to seek answers from the Ghana Water Company, but the reasons given have not brought any relief.
We've done our possible best. We've been engaging the Ghana Water team here at the district office. We've been to the regional office. We've met with the regional manager, but no intervention.
We shall bring you the full story on the post later today. But across northern Ghana, the shea nut tree has long been a symbol of survival for women, providing income, food, and dignity. But today, that lifeline is drying up. Raising temperatures, erratic rains, and changing weather patterns are leaving the shea trees barren, forcing women to abandon their villages. Many now migrate south, working as porters or kayaye. In bustling city markets, they carry heavy loads for little pay, facing abuse and hardship, all because the land they once depended on can no longer sustain them. This is the story of how bad weather is pushing women from shea fields into the harsh reality of the streets. The story is part of a JoyNews CDK and University of Ghana C3SS collaboration with funding support from Clear R4I Opportunities Fund.
The rains no longer fall as they used to. The land is drying, and the shea trees, the backbone of women's income in northern Ghana, are dying. Now, the same women who once lived off these trees are struggling for survival in Ghana's cities. Mariam Hadi is a former shea nut collector.
Initially, picking shea nut was a profitable venture for me, generating between 500 and 1,000 cedis monthly. However, the business I invested in didn't thrive due to the decline of the shea nut industry. As a result, I had to relocate to Kumasi and take up work as a porter to make ends meet.
Mariam is one of thousands once shea nut collectors, now head porters, working long hours for very little.
What I'm doing here is tough. Back home, being a shea nut collector was good.
3 young women, 3 different communities, but the same reason for leaving home. The shea trees no longer fruit. Mariam Isako is another former shea collector. Mariam has left her husband and children back home.
Carrying heavy loads can cause neck and body pain, although some days you might be fortunate and get a lighter load.
My name is Suleimana Mariam.
My name is Suleimana Mariam. The work here is difficult, but shea nut collection was a lucrative business. The problem is they are scarce now.
Scientists say the problem is deeper than poverty. The weather is changing and the trees cannot survive. Dr. Regina Tang Guru is the head of Forest and Climate Change Division at the CSIR Forestry Research Institute of Ghana.
Increased temperature and reduced rainfall, which is drought, are definitely going to have a stress on the plant, and that affects various physiological properties of the tree, in terms of its growth, in terms of its fruiting patterns. We've already talked about the yields. So these are some of the stresses that we can expect. And of course, if we also talk about global warming and climate change, these also lead to increased buildup of dry biomass. And when you have increased buildup of dry biomass, you also end up having more, what we expect as more risk of wildfires. And so the wildfires also tend to affect the trees and bring an added layer of stress for tree growth and tree productivity.
In Tamale, groups like the Savannah Women Integrated Development Agency are helping women learn new skills. Hajia Alima Sajito is the executive director.
We have been in communities where you can hardly count 10, 15 young girls. They've gone. So it's a real thing, it's happening.
The Global Shea Alliance, through the Ghana Shea Landscape Emission Reductions Project, combines protection of existing trees with large-scale replanting.
We are raising, like every year, we seed, that is, we put into polypots about 1.5 million, right? And we get about 50% of that germinating, and another 75% of the 50 surviving before we graft some and take some to the we transplant the rest. Shea has not become commercially viable. Like farmers will go out and buy cashew seedlings themselves and transplant them.
Clement Matumasin is the executive director of Dream Village. Clement's team promotes regenerative agriculture, restoring soil, biodiversity, and livelihoods.
What needs to be done specifically will be policy changes, that we make general policies. We know that some of these policies are already in existence, but enforcing them is a problem. So can we go back to the drawing board, work with the local community?
As the shea trees die, more women and girls will be forced to leave home. But with the right support, the trees can return, and so can the livelihoods of northern Ghana's women.
This story is brought to you by JoyNews in partnership with CDKN Ghana, University of Ghana Center for Climate Change and Sustainability Studies, with funding from CLARE R41 Opportunities Fund.
Thank you. Stay with us. There'll be more after this.
Welcome back. I am Michelle Lejekum. Let's settle for some business stories. Now, as the world marks International Clean Energy Day, the Ghana JETS program team lead Eugene Sangmot says Ghana must urgently focus on cleaner transport solutions to meet its climate targets, with the country aiming to cut greenhouse gas emissions by 15% by 2030. Stakeholders under the Ghana JETS program, a UK government flagship initiative, believe cleaner vehicle and affordable financing could drive an inclusive green energy future.
Clean Energy Day, instituted by the United Nations, highlights the global shift towards low-emission energy systems. According to team lead of the Ghana JETS program, Eugene Sangmote, the day offers Ghana an opportunity to spotlight the transport sector, which remains one of the country's biggest contributors to energy-related emissions and a key focus area under Ghana's climate commitments.
International Clean Energy Day is very significant, as instituted by the UN to be observed across all the nations of the world. Ghana equally observes this, and it's important for Ghana because under the nationally determined contributions, Ghana has an unconditional target of reducing greenhouse gas emissions by 15% by the year 2030. You know, the automotive sector is a major contributor to greenhouse gas emissions and forms part of the transportation sector that accounts for nearly half of all energy-related emissions. So it's important that we celebrate this day, bringing into perspective and into focus how the automotive sector specifically can help and accelerate Ghana's push to cleaner energy and make it available for all.
On affordability, President of the Ghana Automobile Distributors Association and Chief Operating Officer of Rana Motors, Kasim Odemat, says expanding access to structured auto financing is critical to making newer, cleaner and safer vehicles accessible to ordinary Ghanaians.
We can work on the affordability and have more access being given to all citizens to have access to better financing, maybe lower interest financing, so they can have access to new assembled vehicles. Already the new vehicle assembled vehicles have certain incentives which makes it more affordable, but also by having a financial scheme that is being backed would also make it more affordable for people to be buying assembled vehicles, new assembled vehicles, instead of buying new used vehicles.
As Ghana pushes towards its 2030 emissions target, stakeholders say cleaner transport, supported by inclusive financing and policy reform under initiatives like Ghana JETS, could play a decisive role in delivering affordable mobility and low-carbon future.
Moving on, Governor of the Bank of Ghana, Dr. Johnson Isiama, has maintained that effective regulation and enforcement in the banking and financial sectors cannot be achieved by regulators alone. He has therefore argued that there is the need for strong collaboration with all players across the ecosystem to achieve this vision. The governor made this known at the launch of the National Virtual Assets Literacy Initiative, codenamed Navali.
And innovation in the virtual asset space continues to evolve. Education and awareness must remain central to our regulatory approach. And Navali represents a proactive and collaborative effort to ensure that innovation progresses responsibly with due regard to consumer protection, market integrity, and financial stability.
And that'll be all for business. There's more business news when you log on to myjoyonline.com. I am Michelle Lejukum. Sports is up next.